Hi folks, Josh Knight the First here with another episode of Writer Rebuild, coming to you with episode 47 of the series. Let's get right into it. So this week on Kamen Rider Build, we're getting right down to the nitty gritty. This is the last battle. After this episode, we've only got 2 episodes left until the series is done. And really at this point, it's all on the table now. People here are putting everything out there, and they're going to give everything. And we know in this episode, unfortunately, that price is going to be paid by Kazumi. Now yes, I'm starting that off by saying that it's not a secret. We all knew this was coming. They told us in the preview, but things are just going to get more and more bleak before they get better, and that's been a common theme here in this series. Now, we do see that there's other stuff going on in the background during the other fights, and really the main writers there, Ryuga and of course Sento, they're not going to see their due until one more episode later, but for right now the focus is definitely going to be on Kazumi and this last fight for Greece. Now, at the end of last week's episode, we saw that he ignored Sento's advice. Kazumi decided to activate the Blizzard Knuckle and become Grease Blizzard, which of course is a form I very much like. Now, unfortunately, this fight is going to take everything out of him, because he knows by that same token, not only does he need to defeat these fake Hokuto Trio guys, he also has to purify this one bottle that they've got, and unfortunately he's decided to take that upon himself to do it. Now really, his whole thing as a sacrificial hero, yes, we've seen it over the course of the series, but now it's finally got to come to a head. Some people, yeah, you can get through to them, like Sento, like Ryuga. They do grow as people, but some people just stay steeped in the thing that they see as their mission, and that really has been one of the tenets of Kazumi's character. He sees that this is his mission, and he has to fulfill it. Now, to make it even more poignant, we see that not only is he going to take out the Hokuto Trio at the cost of his own life, he has an audience. We see that Sawa and Misora showed up to go ahead and try and provide some assistance to the build crew, and Misora's going to be there watching him as he gives his life, really for her sake, for everyone's sake, but it's that much more poignant because of the relationship between the two of them. Now, I'll get more into that in just a second, but I actually want to see about what exactly brought them there to Pandora's Tower. Now, I was asking the question before, okay, who exactly was on the phone with Sawa last episode? Turns out it was actually Utsumi. We did see that, yes, he was in contact with another Nanba child, which actually was Sawa, and Sawa has brought the necessary bottles that are needed to go ahead and give them the edge over the Hell Brother clones. Now, the Hell Brother clones are just like the Hokuto Trio. They're parts of Evil, meaning if anybody was to get to Evil right now, he's not in his strongest form. But really, the whole idea is to weaken them before they get to him, and even if they destroy the clones, they're just going to form back up with the original Evil, so it's a win-win situation for him no matter how you look at it. But the thing of it here is that Utsumi has finally turned face. He was faking his madness. I called it. I knew it. He couldn't be like that at all. But there's a lot of interesting things they're deciding to do with Utsumi right here at the end for him. Not only did we see that he faked his madness, he actually came up with a kind of Trojan horse for the Hell Brothers if he ever had to turn against them, which I imagine he figured that he needed to. He uses the Shark Bottle and the Bite Bottle to go ahead and nullify their powers, and that's what they use to go ahead and get rid of them. But it's interesting to see that we now have 2 double writers in Rogue and Mad Rogue. Now, for what it's worth, I wish we had more time to focus on just exactly how Gentoku takes this. I mean, yes, he's readily able to accept the help from a friend, but really it's this whole thing that they're working together again, just like they did in episode 1. They're on the same team for the first time in several episodes, and they seem to have gotten over that whole, hey, you shot me thing. And that's actually going to come into play a little bit more than we thought it was going to, but we see that that victory is short-lived, and that Evil decides to go ahead and take them on himself. So we see that not only was Utsumi faking his madness, he, yes, this whole time was planning his revenge against Evil, because it actually meant something that he killed Nanba in front of him, and he's been planning this ever since he broke that cane several episodes back. I knew that was the case because he couldn't just get over it that easily. Not only has he been working behind Evil's back, he's actually managed to match Evil's speed. In order to do this, he's had to lie to him, you know, all those questions he was asking over the last several episodes, that's what he was using to get back at him. So you always have to be careful with the quiet ones, or the people that think they're on your side. They might not be, they might be just working for themselves, and in this case that's very true for Utsumi. Now, this is actually really cool for Utsumi, and it actually kind of redeems his character for me, but then they do something really cool and weird at the same time. They reveal that he can't exactly match Evil because he's not like him, he's not an alien. But he's also not human. He was actually a remodeled cyborg. Now, for those of you who know Kamen Rider, you know this is a big thing. We haven't had an actual human that has been modified into a cyborg to be a Kamen Rider in ages. Really, most of the Heisei era hasn't had that trope. Yeah, we've had people operated on or have special powers given to them, but not a straight up cyborg. We've had androids, but not a straight up cyborg since Black RX. And yeah, you can get technical with Shin, Zeto, and J, but you know, we're sticking to series here. So it's interesting that we're told not only is he a cyborg, he was turned into a cyborg after he was fished out of the river, and they're just bothering to tell us that now. Now on the one hand, I really want to give them props, they remembered to do that. But at the same time, you did that with 2 episodes to go in the series, so it's kinda cheap. Like, I hate it, but I love it. It's really weird. But unfortunately, this is actually going to clear the deck for everybody. This is all Utsumi can do, and that's all that's going to be done for him. He's gone. He's out. And now we've got to focus back on Grease. Now, unfortunately, as he's using these bottles, really we don't have to focus on the fight that much because we know the outcome. He does, in fact, defeat the Hokuto trio. The focus of the episode is actually going to be his long goodbye with him and Misora by his side. Now, this is actually the conversation I'd been waiting for this whole time once they introduced his character and showed that he had an affection for Mitan, for Misora. And we're actually addressing the fact why they call each other by the names they do. He calls her Mitan because that's how he knows her. That's her streaming name. That's how he originally met her. But as far as Misora is concerned, she calls him Grease and doesn't want to call him by his real name. Doesn't want to call him even Kazumi in the affectation because she's afraid that if she does, that means it'll mean something to her and then he might go away. And that's really heartbreaking to realize that you don't want to get attached because you realize you could very easily. Now, I'm actually going to be very transparent right now. In my own life, I actually had a family loss over the last several weeks. So watching this episode when that happened just broke my heart even further. Watching them slip away like that. And, you know, the look on Kazumi's face, the fact that he's trying to keep a strong face, he doesn't actually want to look at her other than to give her the bottle, but he's just doing everything he can to not look at her because it would break his heart even further. And Misora, her actress, is doing such amazing work there. The tears streaming down her face. I believe her grief. I believe that she feels like she's losing somebody important to her right there. And not to make a meme out of it, but I have to say that Kazumi's death has to be in like the top 5 deaths that I've seen in Heisei Kamen Rider because it means something. His character developed over the course of the series. It was an arc of, oh, we found out he was a potato farmer, and then he became a soldier, and then he became a reluctant hero, and then he becomes the sacrificial hero. But really, that sacrifice was always there. He was willing to put up with so much for the people that he was caring for on his farm, and then he enlisted in the military for the same reason, and now he's caring for Mitan, and then the whole country. That's really who he was as a character, and he means to be sorely missed. The fact that they use the silence there after everybody finds out and Misora comes back and silently says the words. We don't hear her say that he's gone, but we know that's what she said, and everybody's reaction there, you know, Gentoku crying out, Sento just getting so mad and so fed up that this is what happened. It affects everybody on a deep level, even Sawa's tears, I believe. For what it's worth, I have to give Grease credit that he went out on his own terms. Yeah, he could have tried to prolong his life, but he knew that the best thing for him to do was give his all, give 100%, and that's the way he fought, that's the way he lived, that's the way he died. And really, he's got to be one of my favorite characters as far as the way that he portrayed his life throughout the series. Much the same as Laser last year in Kamen Rider Exade, it means the same thing here in this series, and I'm probably going to go out and buy a Blizzard Knuckle as soon as it goes on sale. But now, with all this loss and grief, it's time to finally take on Evil. And that's actually where the episode ends, and we're going to pick that up again next week when we see that we're going to lose another character. Really, everybody's giving their all, and everybody's willing to sacrifice themselves, and we find out there's more to that than we thought, and this fight is going to continue. So overall, yes, this was a great episode. I really did appreciate the fighting there between the Hokuto trio and Grease Blizzard. I actually really like the suit, and it's a shame that we only get to see it for the one episode. Kind of like Ultimate Kuga, where we only got to see it the one time. I mean, yeah, we got glimpses, you know, with the visions that Godai would get, but really, it's just the one episode that you get for Ultimate Kuga. Same thing here for Grease Blizzard. We only get the one episode, and yeah, for being a kit bash, it's a really cool suit. But by that same token, it was still a very well acted episode. I believed everybody's emotion. I believe that Evil was that much of a jerk to revel in the fact that everybody is so miserable by his hand, by his doing, and that just makes them that much more motivated to take him down. But those, of course, are my thoughts on the episode. I want to hear what you guys thought in the comments below, so let's go ahead and talk about a few things. First off, Utsumi. Do you think that he's actually dead or just mostly dead and they could bring him back since he's apparently a cyborg? Secondly, the Hell Brother clones. Because they were able to go ahead and form back up into the singular Hell Brother, do you think that it's interesting that the clones that Evil makes have the same properties as the people they're portraying, kind of like Mystique in the X-Men movies? Do you think that's okay, or they shouldn't work like that? And thirdly, and most importantly, Grease. For Kazumi, do you think that if you watched Exade last year that the weight of his death is just as bad as losing Laser? You tell me in the comments below. And of course, during the week, you can always talk to me over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st. This has been episode 47 of Writer Rebuild. For episode 47 of Kamen Rider Build, 0 Degree Flames, I'm Josh Knight the First. I'll see you guys again next episode.